Welcome back to another Hank Green video. Just kidding. Welcome back to tonight's Sad Reality. It might sound like a Hank Green video, but tonight I am literally going to just be reading a Wikipedia page. This video has been sponsored by Nightmare9173. Not actually, but this guy left a comment and I finally did some actual research and I'm like, wow, there's intelligent people on the internet. I should actually read up on things, I guess. So the most movement you're gonna see on screen are maybe my mouse and various links popping up. Who knows? We're just gonna be reading a Wikipedia page. um, but I kind of figured Wikipedia is a game I haven't played yet, so this is kind of fair game for this channel. And for the people that care about work slash personal life, whatever you want to call it, it's going well. But I miss the nights so much. I'd be going down random internet rabbit holes like whatever this is, learning about something random, learning how to edit, learning how to draw, learning how to just do whatever. I miss the old days of psychology in a nutshell too. Or maybe I just miss high school since that's kind of when I learned about psychology. Although I would say I've been fascinated by it for a while because I don't believe that my own mental kind of falls within the realm of normality, so to speak, I guess. But with that, we're on Wikipedia. So eliminative materialism. Oh, that's solipsism. Wrong thing. I love misclicking. Eliminative material. There we are. Back to this page. I was recommended two of these topics because one has to do with basically um, kind of like ignoring everything. Not really ignoring. What's a better way of putting it? Solipsism, at least the way it was pitched to me, is the thought that everyone else is fake. Eliminative materialism is the thought that me, everything else I experience is fake. Which I'm like, ooh, this is such a weird rabbit hole. It is a materialist position in the philosophy of mind that expresses the ideas that majority of mental states in folk psychology do not exist. Okay, let's do some digging here. Kind of on board with that. I was grown up in a household where we're just like, uh, the world around you will tell you that depression is a thing, anxiety is a thing, but do not believe them. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can kind of get behind that. Having worked in retail, I'm like, wow, this is depressing as shit. But also like, I hate people so much. Um, so maybe within normal cognitive function, normal cognitive environments, those things wouldn't exist. But I think that is very misguided. Anyways, some supporters of eliminativism. I'm gonna say this wrong the entire video, and don't worry, it's gonna piss both of us off. Both me, the person saying it, and you, the one or two people that are actually curious about this. No coherent neural basis would be found for many everyday psychological concepts such as belief or desire, since they're poorly defined. Do I agree with this? No. Poorly defined. Belief or desire are poorly defined. I feel like those aren't poorly defined, or at least the way I would define them. But let's continue with this argument. Okay, so if they support this, they're poorly defined. The argument is that psychological concepts of behavior and experience should be judged by how well they reduce to the biological level. Okay, so you can't believe in things if at a biological level you can't, I guess, perceive it, I guess. Um, which I feel like having intelligence already sort of subverts that because as humans, that's one of the things that we have, whereas other animals, at least as far to our knowledge, wouldn't be able to do that. But regardless, other versions entail the non-existence of conscious mental states such as pain and visual perceptions. When I was younger, my dad, okay, I'm terrified of getting shots at the doctors. And when I say terrified, I mean my heart rate gets jacked up and I've almost passed out a few times. But I can put on a face like it's not happening, or I can pretend to be calm, cool, and collected, because that's what we're supposed to do. You're supposed to suck it up, buttercup, be the Mr. Trooper, as sometimes it's called, and make it not happen. Also, I'm still in the first paragraph and it's been how many minutes? Oh my gosh. Um, my dad was always like, pain is in your head. If you think about it, it doesn't really happen because like if it never really makes it to your brain or you just like block that in your head, then you won't really experience pain. And I'm like, I can't punch someone in a conversation or you shouldn't hit your parents but I'm like punching someone. It's like, do you feel pain now? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's real, but I can understand that it's like, yeah, it's just a mental impulse, whatever. If you want to boil it down to this is kind of the part of where I'm like, sometimes I think science is dumb because stuff like this exists, and I feel like it violates basic intuition. But I also think that's kind of the beauty to some science too, that it violates basic intuition. Like, this makes sense, but it doesn't, so this works instead, and then we find things that nobody would have ever thought. Electricity, who knows? With the fact that we can control the way electrons move, isn't that weird? Also, isn't the fog like some weapon in TF2 that everyone gets pissed off with? I was never really one of those guys super into TF2. My dad did in fact main pyro, and he has a pyro coaster on his desk. Class of entities is the view that the class of entities does not exist. What? Eliminativism about a class of entities is the view that the class of entities does not exist. Zero doesn't exist because I say zero does not exist. Because it is nothing, I guess. Materialism tends to be a limit. It doesn't like the soul. Modern chemists are. I'm not. This is gonna drive me crazy. Oh my gosh. Modern biologists. What are modern physicists? I'm not looking at any of these things. Let's keep growing. Keep growing. Let's keep going. I can't English. Various arguments have been made for and against a limited materialism over the past 50 years. The last 50 years. Do I have a speech problem? Do I? I feel like I do. I feel like trying to learn this is that, or maybe because it's a little past midnight. I have to wake up early tomorrow as well, so I'm actually recording at a semi-decent time. It's not 2 in the morning. It's only 10 minutes after midnight, which is still past my bedtime. But anyways, the view's history can be traced to David Hume, who rejected the idea of self. Oh, look at this guy. Beautiful French. Nope, Scottish. Beautiful Scottish man. Philosopher. David Hume. Give it up for this guy who made a word that apparently I can't pronounce. Rejected the idea of self on the grounds that it is not based on any impression. Okay, I think that's fair enough. Most arguments for the view are based on the assumption that people's common sense view of the mind is actually an implicit theory. I can get behind that. Am I going to explain what that means in monkey terms? No, but I think I can kind of agree with that. It is to be compared and contrasted with other scientific theories in its explanatory success, accuracy, and ability to predict the future. Ooh. Do you know yourself well enough to predict how you are going to do things? Is that what I just read? Maybe. I love Wikipedia too, but sometimes I feel like being on here, I'm like, wow, I'm not qualified to read any of this. Derived from neuroscience, that's cool. Need to be replaced by explanations derived. Cool. May take several approaches. Simulation theorists. Cool, cool, cool. What do we have here? Schematic overview. Eliminativists suggest that some sciences can be reduced blue, but that theories are in principle irreducible will eventually be eliminated orange. Okay, so it's basically like these things. We don't believe in astrology, we believe in astronomy. We believe in the study of space, not the way the zodiac signs work and when people are born influencing. Okay, I don't hate that. The concept will eventually be eliminated as neuroscience progresses. Consciousness and folk psychology are separate issues, and it's possible to take in a limited. It's possible to take a stance on one but not the other, as they say. Um, this is so hard. Back in, gosh, what, 5th grade, I remember I beat the reading system they had. In elementary school, you could go from reading level A to Z, and to me, the most fun part of that was they would sit you down and then you do a test, and if you succeeded on that one, you do the next test, and the next one, and the next one. So I did literally all of them back to back to back, all the way up to Z. And I was sitting in a room, I don't remember who it was. They're like, "Can you spell psychologist?" As a 5th grader, I was able to spell psychologist, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. I remember going home, like bragging to my friends, bragging to my parents. I was like, "I can spell psychologist. I'm a 5th grader. Get out of my I don't know. I've been compared to young Sheldon. I don't like terms. Well, it was a minority view in the 1960s. It has gained prominent acceptance during the 1980s. Interesting. Well, some history here. B.F. Skinner. I've seen this guy come up a lot, especially back in my textbook that I didn't read because we were not supposed to read it because apparently there were some things that shouldn't have made it into the school curriculum or it was inappropriate. I don't know. I think old psychology is kind of based, if you ask me. Do I agree with it? Maybe not always, but some of those things are really funny. When you look at what was it? It was I'm probably gonna say the wrong thing, so please be sure to crucify me in the comments. It had to do with like spatial evaluation or something. I think the order it was listed was as far as like competence with spatial things. It was either women or gay people at the bottom, then the other one, then lesbians, then men. And I remember finding that in the textbook and bringing it to my friends. We had a whole bunch of individuals at our table. We had gay Ethan, we had me, we had my best friend, then we had Maria. And we'd always just find these dumb things and talk about it. We thought it was hilarious. And sure, none of us agree on these things. It's just like, hey, this thing exists. It's funny. But what if it was true? Like, hear me out, guys. Actually, the phlogiston theory of combustion. Do we just confirm Pyro TF2? the vital, the vital force theory of life. I might have to go look into these other things too. Radical behaviorists such as Skinner argue that folk psychology is already obsolete and should be replaced by descriptions of histories of reinforcement and punishment. Skinner was into BDSM. Okay. More recently, they made various arguments for the big E. Elizabeth Irvine. It's not even a joke. Like, I'm not trying to mispronounce these things. It just happens. I think it's like a genetic thing, but it started with my bloodline apparently, because my mom makes fun of me for it every single time I say something wrong. And even when she's objectively wrong about it, she'll still make fun of other people. That's my favorite part of it. Arguments for it. Problems with folk theories. Okay. So what are the for and against? Specific problems? What? I thought it was gonna be like, this is the for, this is against. Okay, never mind. It's categorized on the left side. Arguments for, arguments against. Qualia. Another problem. Human beings undergo subjective experiences and hence their conscious mental states have qualia. Hard to find an subjective conscious experience. From Latin, the Latin and objective. Of what sort? Of what kind? Yeah, I'm not qualified enough for any of this. Oh my gosh. What is like to taste a specific? Okay, this is like I was about to say the redness of red. As soon as I saw the red square, I'm like, there's some Vsauce video I remember, and it's like the way you taste the strawberry is different. The way you see the strawberry, your red may not be my red. In fact, your red might be my green, but because we have all seen these things dozens and dozens of times, we all assume it to be the same thing. It's like if I hold up a water bottle, you can point to it and say it's a water bottle, but it could look slightly different to me and slightly different to you, but we've both been taught that it is a water bottle. Kind of, not really. I should not be talking about things I'm not qualified to talk about. Welcome to politics, baby. Oh, look at how many references we got. 74. What's the 67th reference? Because it's a funny number. Consciousness Explained. 1991. Okay. 1978, 1960. Okay. This goes back. I was curious to check like the oldest source because sometimes you can find some really interesting things. Further reading. This is like when you go home and they say, "Oh hey, be sure to I'm so sorry to the audience. I'm so sorry. Let there be darkness." To quote Genesis. Now your eyes can heal. My eyes died for yours so that you may live again. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Dark mode. I I'm one of those people too. I go up to people and I'm like, dude, you're using Discord light mode, what is wrong with you? And then I don't see the big button on the right side that says dark mode. Use dark. It's in beta, but use dark mode. Okay, anyways, I assume automatic is just gonna go back to dark mode as well. Anyway, let's look at some arguments for it. Problems with it, specific problems. Physics eliminates intentionality. Okay, this actually sounds interesting. The problem of intentionality poses a significant challenge to materialist accounts of cognition. What? The problem of intentionality, okay, so how we're doing things, poses a significant challenge to materialist accounts of cognition. So it's like why we do the thing, materialist accounts of how we do the thing. If thoughts are neural processes, we must explain how specific neural networks can be about external objects or concepts. If thoughts are neural processes, we must explain how specific. Can you hear the gears in my head turning as I slowly say these things over and over? I should do like instead of like ASMR, it's like brainwashing, but it's like slowing things down and saying it very slowly, and then you just like remember it all of a sudden. You're like in a psychology exam, and you're like, man, I remember that Vsauce video, and then you get a C on the exam. Okay, traditional analogies fail to explain this phenomenon. Unlike a photograph, neurons do not physically resemble Paris, nor can we appeal to conventional symbolism as we might with a stop sign representing the action of stopping. Such symbols derive their meaning from social agreement and interpretation, which are not applicable to a brain's workings. This video has been very humbling, remembering that I do not understand a lick about any of this. Also, I'm not going to college. Just kidding. I was smarter than everyone else in college, but also it just pissed me off that I wasn't learning anything. Although sometimes I look at these things and I'm like, maybe I didn't try to learn these things hard enough. Attempts to posit a separate neural process that assigns meaning to the Paris neurons merely shift the problem without resolving it, as we then need to explain how the secondary process can assign meaning, initiating an infinite regress, as they say in reference 42. Okay, illusionism. An active program with EM to explain phenomenal consciousness as an illusion. Whoa, nothing around you is real. You ever wonder if a bunch of psychologists like met up one day and took drugs and we would just come up with like the wackiest things? Like the thing they did on the artists where they all took like LSD or whatever drug and out popped new studies about the way artists take drugs. I don't know. Thank you, the creators of SpongeBob, for taking drugs so I can have a childhood. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Don't fact check me on anything. Postulates that consciousness is an illusion. Okay, well, thank you for postulating that. I would like someone to actually prove it first. According to David Chalmers, proponents argue that once we can explain consciousness as an illusion without the need for a realist view of consciousness, we can construct a debunking argument against realist views of consciousness. I think people get so bored they just like lock themselves in their room and they just read things over and over until it makes sense. And then in order to prove everyone else wrong because we get locked in our heads, we have to like go about these things in a way where we have to find something new or basically just against the grain is kind of what I'm saying. This line of argument draws from other debunking arguments, evolutionary debunking argument in the field of meta-ethics. Meta-ethics? Wiki loves folklore. Photograph your local culture. Help Wikipedia and win. Give us free assets, please, guys. Please, free asset. Okay, metaphilosophy. I'm tired. Metaethics is the study of the nature, scope, ground, and meaning of moral judgment, ethical belief, or values. What is metaphilosophy? The philosophy of philosophy is the investigation of the nature of philosophy. Hey guys, we like ourselves so much, we're going to write a book about ourselves. We're going to call it an autobiography, and we're also going to make this an entire study, and people are now going to have homework on this, and this is going to be a college degree, I suppose. Anyways, where are we at? Arguments against. Intentionality and consciousness are identical. Some biggies. Hopefully that doesn't sound like a slur. Reject intentionality while accepting the existence of qualia. They reject qualia while accepting intentionality. It's like one or the other. It's like you have a mathematical equation and the two sides aren't equal, but there's an equal sign between them. So people are like, well, we gotta find some variable that zeroes out to make it work, I suppose. Argue for such a position include this guy. Let's go back to this. Problems with folk theories. Let's compare the two. Theorize the existence of an unacknowledged theory. Make predictions about homostasis. This view is often referred to as the theory of mind, or just simply theory. Oh my gosh, it's like playing chess within chess. And this is why nobody likes any of the science that goes this deep. Nobody that I know that sits here and plays games all day like I do. I kind of want to blue ball this video and just end and be like, and that's tonight's sad reality, but I want to try to actually like understand some of the stuff here. Um, let's go back to this. Philosophy of mind expresses the idea the majority of mental states do not exist. Okay. So none of this really exists, and basically the argument for it is that the stuff that already exists has problems, so that is not fully actualized. It's kind of like in science when we have theories, but they're not laws yet because we have no way of verifying it until we do, I guess. Or the whole people that are like, well, Einstein was right about a lot. Some things he may not have been right about. We'll see, I guess. Theory of relativity. The theory of light mode, flashback. Okay, anyways, touchdown and consciousness are identical. Intuitive reservations, the thesis of I'm gonna give it like one shot. The thesis of eliminativism, eliminativism, ELIMINATIVISM. How many syllables is that? At least 3. Seems so obviously wrong to many critics who find it undeniable that people know immediately and indubitably. Who wrote this? I was about to say undoubtedly. Indubitably that they have minds. That argumentation seems unnecessary. This sort of intuition pumping is illustrated by asking what happens when one asks oneself honestly if one has mental states. I think mathematicians wake up and have like dreams about these things. I was about to say something worse. Like, I can't. I'm not. I've said worse things on this channel, but as I highlight these set of 4 characters. Anyways, Okay, self-refutation. Some philosophers, such as Paul. This guy looks smart. He also looks like he's lost 40% of his hair mass, at the very least. I've attempted to show that the big E is some sense self-refuting. Ooh, I can get down for that. It's like, you triggered my trap card. Your trap card never existed. Since the theory presupposes the existence of mental phenomena, if this is true, they must accept an intentional property like truth. Oh, I think I understand. It's like saying you have to. Your argument has to be on some sort of base, and the suggestion here is that it's not even on some base. Like, there has to be some essential axiom to which this follows, which apparently it's not even doing, I guess. Um, can someone explain this to me in the comments like I'm 5, any of this? I will actually take the time to try to read it. Correspondence theory of truth. Blah, 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 blah. Philosophers develop theory of structural resemblance. Experiments in the 1980s with macaws. Yeah, the monkeys, I remember. I used to have a friend who liked these, and then he put a copyright strike on a channel in a manner that was quite probably illegal, and we no longer talk. Anyways, isomorphism between the brain and world is not a matter of some relationship between reality and a map of reality stored in the brain. What, Judge Ree? This isomorphism between brain and world is not a matter of some relationship between reality and a map of reality stored in the brain. ChatGPT, get on this. I need you to talk like this to me. Maps require interpretation if they are about to be about what they map. And the floor here is made of floor. Criticism, physical isomorphism approaches faces. This is the same problem that like a lot of people do where they read headlines and they don't actually read what it's about, because I'm not retaining any of this. Don't drop out of school, actually try harder. The experienced beer drinker. Don't tell me this is a sub. Okay. Is this not the most based subtitle? Is this considered a subtitle? Title 2, Title 3 you've ever seen on Wikipedia? The experienced beer drinker. Dennett's second thought experiment involves beer. Many people think of beer as an acquired taste. One's first sip is often unpleasant, but one gradually comes to enjoy it. That's like the misery this channel is built on. The more you watch it, the more you want to keep watching it, even though all of it sucks. But wait, Dennett asks, what is the it here? Vsauce, Michael here. What is? Okay, compare the flavor of that first taste with the flavor now. Does the beer taste exactly the same, both then and now? Only now you like that taste, whereas before you disliked it. Or is it the way that the beer tastes gradually shifts? Or perhaps it's the person shifting, in my opinion. So the taste you did not like at the beginning is not the same taste you now like. In fact, most people simply cannot tell which is the correct analysis. Also, my eyes are tripping out, and I'm like seeing everything down here. It's like moving in my peripherals. I'm trying to read everything up here. But that is to give up again on the idea that we have special and infallible access to our qualia. Okay, whatever you say, science man. Further, when forced to choose, many people feel that the second analysis is more plausible, but then if one's reactions to an experience are in any way constitutive of it. Hey guys, remember, I'm reading level Z here back in 5th grade. The experience is not so intrinsic after all. Another qualia property fails. Inverted goggles. Then its third experiment involves inverted goggles. Those are the things that make you see in upside down, whatever. Scientists have devised special goggles, or special eyeglasses that invert up and down for the wearer. When you put them on, everything looks upside down. We should play, Jackbox, it's like the one reinvent things. I can't remember what it's called, but I always thought that was fun if you had people that were like creative and then also liked going in extreme detail about the insane levels of torture their devices would bring upon people. Anyways, when the subject puts them on, they can barely walk around without stumbling. Not true. Not true for me, because I played VR a few times. But also, if you just choose to ignore that, or if you just close your eyes, you can still move around. In my opinion, maybe this is kind of breaking your experiment. After subjects wear them for a while, something surprising occurs. They adapt to become able to walk around as easily as before. When you ask them whether they've adapted by re-inverting their visual field or simply got used to walking around in an upside-down world, they cannot say. That's really interesting to me, actually. I would love to do more research on that, I suppose. So as in our beer drinking case, either we simply do not have the special infallible access to our qualia that would allow us to distinguish between the two cases, or the way the world works, or the way the world looks to us is actually a function of how we respond to me covering up the text, the world, in which case qualia are not intrinsic properties of experience. Because I said so. Illusionism. Hey, illusionary reality. Vsauce here. I feel like I've watched too much YouTube. Like, I've seen all of it without having seen all of it. I always get recommendations of stuff, and I feel like the recommendations I get maybe like 1 or 2 good recommendations. You watch all of it, and then I'm like, man, the rest of this sucks. That's kind of what some of this... If you want to take a Wikipedia page and somehow make this a metaphor for life, well, there you go. Thanks for watching. Me cough and die. Thanks for watching tonight's Sad Reality. I hope you had a fantastic night. I hope you enjoyed my rather perturbed intellectual take on any of this. And I'll see you in tomorrow's Sad Reality. Have a good one, y'all.